Hello and welcome everyone to episode 5 of the Overdose Peak Season Power Series. We built this 6-part series for digital and e-commerce professionals who want to sharpen their peak season performance very quickly. Each episode is packed with practical insights that you can put to work straight away. And if you've missed any so far, do not worry. You can find those on our website at overdose.digital/peak season. We'll share that link with you as well. And our door is, of course, always open to people to explore their curiosity and their thoughts and their questions with us personally. I'm Mike, and joining me today is Jorge, our CRM lead. And over the next 20 minutes, we'll be diving into using smart email and really creative AI techniques to drive more revenue during the peak season, followed by a quick Q&A and a wrap up with the key takeaways. Now we know that every brand is heading into the same battlefield over the next couple of months. It's going to be chaos. The battle for attention in the inbox is just mad across Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And that weekend is where attention is just shorter than ever. Competition is super loud and every brand thinks they've got the code cracked and they want to make more money. And that's what we're all here to try and do and to be successful over that period. But what most brands don't think about or don't necessarily realize is that winning on Black Friday or on Cyber Monday across that period, it's not about what you do over that weekend to maximize revenue. Being successful all comes down to what you do in the lead up to the selling season. So getting started as early as possible with planning and campaign activation is what sets the top performers apart from everyone else. So today we're going to talk through some of the techniques and successful strategies that we've seen work across the hundreds of brands we've worked with to prepare for peak season. And we consistently see the same truth coming through. The brands that win aren't the loudest, they're the most prepared. So I'm going to reiterate that throughout today. Jorge is going to take you through what our framework looks like to help you plan, execute, and optimize your peak season campaign across 3 key phases. The first one being pre-season, making sure you're forecasting, you're growing your list, you're refining segmentation and scaling safely. Then during the campaign, how do you launch early, track performance in real time, and pivot fast using AI? And then after, how do we analyze our results? How do we clean our lists? And how do we turn learnings from this year into next year's growth? So with that, I'll pass it over to Jorge to take things away.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Jorge. I'm the CRM lead here at Overdose. And like Mark said, just going to run you through the full 3 stages of preparation for your peak season. So let's start with the pre-stage. And let's start with the most important part, I reckon, just in order to just get the strategy right and basically just have some measure to success what you're doing and allow you to pivot. And the most important thing, obviously, is just set yourself a forecast, set yourself a goal that you want to achieve at the end of your peak season, so you can track towards that target and making sure that if you're not reaching the levels that you have forecast, you can easily pivot. So the most important thing for forecasting and setting some goals, obviously, is just reviewing your historical data and just work into what you did last year. How many emails did you send? What was the engagement, CTRs, CVRs, and how those metrics impact your final revenue? And then just understanding what sort of tweaks or optimizations do you have to do in those 3 main metrics, as in volume of email sent, click rates, and CVR, in order to achieve your target. There's a simple table down here with different scenarios about how your revenue will change if you increase your click rate 2% versus last year, or if you increase your CVR, or if you increase your email volume sent, or all together. You can play around with that table and then set your goals. After setting your forecast and your goals, the most important thing is to grow your subscriber list. Obviously, the bigger audience, the bigger revenue opportunity. It's really important to set a high impact lead gen campaign. Just think big on that. Get a little bit crazy on the hook that you're using for lead gen. Capture as many new subscribers as you can. Use your sign up forms. Test different type of creative in order to increase your submission rates. Invest on paid channels really early. And then use your best audiences to create lookalikes that will optimize the results of your paid campaign. And the most important thing is just don't forget to collect SMS consent, as setting an omni-channel strategy especially for Black Friday, is really, really important. After you got your acquisition strategy set and ready, it is also really important to set a proper segmentation strategy in order to understand what segments are the most engaged ones, what segments will drive you like higher CTRs, higher CVRs, so you can use them the most, you can send them more frequently emails, and you can rely on them. And understanding as well who are the ones that are potentially like impacting your deliverability and reducing the frequency to that. At Overdose, we've got a framework of the proper segmentation strategy that is just basically divided in 4 big areas. The first one will be email engagement segments. They're looking into the email engagement metrics to understand who are the ones that are engaging the most. Then we've got the interest segments that basically are looking into what type of category products or specific products someone has shown some interest in the past. So if you're creating some campaigns throughout your peak season that are targeting specific collections or categories, you can include those segments in it. The third big area will be the hygiene segment. And basically, with these ones, we're trying to understand who out of your subscriber list you should not send any emails or any communications. And that's based on high bounce rates or how high bounce events. SMS errors, for example, if you're sending SMS to a phone number and it's just giving some errors, just making sure that you keep sending emails, SMS to them. And the fourth big area will be the paid segments, and that's really important because that will help us to optimize the paid spend before and during peak season. The third thing on the pre-stage is start testing early. So make sure that you run as many tests as you can throughout the 2 or 3 months before peak season, just to get some information about what best subject lines are creating big high open rates, what sort of content is increasing your CTRs, what are the best days or times to send. What are the best recommended or dynamic product blogs that are helping you to perform increase CTRs and CVRs? Run also A/B tests to understand whether your offer should be like linked to dollar discount or percentage discounts. Run also CRO tests to understand conversion rate once you drive traffic into your platform. Make audit splits as well. And if you are with Klaviyo, just make sure that, or just understand that Klaviyo has recently launched a lot of AI power features that will allow you to personalize further, as the AI personalized campaigns that basically will allow you to run tests, and then Klaviyo will determine what variation is better for what cohort. So basically, Klaviyo will divide your audience in different cohorts and will send the winner variation to each of the cohorts. You can plug as well the AI product analysis as well to understand what sort of products someone would be most interested in after purchasing something, or what sort of products people are purchasing together. And last but not least, the AI omnichannel campaign builder that basically will allow you to orchestrate your campaigns in kind of a flow kind of settings. So basically, it's just a way to create email campaigns with different follow-ups that they will be targeting like different segments that you decide, and you will be using like different channels as well. Very important to optimize your flows, especially all the abandoned series, making sure that you reduce the delay times, you increase the number of emails, you make sure that you add all the branding for your Black Friday campaigns in them, and you include SMS as well for omni-channel orchestration. Thing that is just more important as well is just you have to work on your content plan. Just make sure that it's a long game content plan, making sure that you start early and then you just create campaigns that are quite creative. It's not about like repeating your main Black Friday offer. It's just also playing around with flash sales, with specific deals in a day, category specific drops. So be creative on that, just to make sure that people don't get kind of tired of seeing the same message over and over. And then I'm going to pass into Mike as well, that will run you through like different kind of AI strategies that you can follow in order to come up with real good content in an easy and fast way.
Thanks, Jorge. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about some of the concepts and putting them into practice. And because we're tight on time, I won't be demoing anything, just showing and talking about different techniques that can be used, manual workflows, and some prompt options, which people can access in their own time after the presentation and use. Now, recognizing that not everybody has a big creative team or endless hours of resource, and most people are juggling multiple roles. This is where AI can really become your leverage. Think about it as adding digital teammates to your workflow. And it's like having PhD level marketers at your disposal. The best part is you don't need fancy software. This also isn't going to be specific to Klaviyo or any particular email marketing automation tool. All of these tools, all of these techniques, can be completed within ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, and even using the likes of Google's suite across Nano Banana and Notebook LM to make you more effective as part of your planning and your content creation process. So the use case we have on screen here, before coming up with any campaign ideas, we need to know what's happening in the market and what's relevant to our audience. And part of the challenges as a human is that we struggle to understand what's happening across all of the trends, what's working in market. Often we rely on gut feel or anecdotal feedback, or even sometimes we don't rely on last year's data, which is at our disposal as well. Whereas AI gives us that opportunity to run really deep market research across hundreds of data sources, and that it can all happen in minutes. We're not talking weeks here to get this job done, but it can really help us uncover what themes are trending across our competitors, our industry, our product category, different campaigns that might have been run in our industry as well. And we can do this all in advance of peak season to understand what is resonating and what we can be wrapping our campaigns around. So using the deep research agents within tools like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, these are basically purpose-built systems that automatically search, analyze, and summarize information from across the web and pull those insights into a structured report. So it's difficult to see in the screenshot there, but this is an example of where you can find the Claude Deep Research Agent, which is a personal preference of mine. You can access it for free as part of the free tier if you sign up onto Claude. The reason I like Claude is it is much more detailed in terms of the trends that it pulls out for you and the information. It's also not providing you with quite generic recommendations. It's going to very deep ends of the web to find that different sources of information. For this particular example that I was testing it on, it pulled across 600 different data sources and found really good insights around what would work within the men's fashion industry within the Australian market as well. So on the right-hand side there, we've got an example prompt, which you won't want to read the entire detail of that for now, but you can take this and use that as part of your deep research process to understand what's happening within market and to apply those learnings to your campaigns. The next use case is all around taking a good look at your previous year's Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaigns. So after spotting market trends, we want to understand what worked and what didn't work last year. What can we build on that were proven ideas instead of starting from scratch, but also to take those learnings and those insights and to help us generate new ideas for this year's campaign. So it really helps with that blank canvas problem that we all face, coming up with fresh ideas and not just recycling old ones or guessing what might land. Because a lot of the best ideas really do come from previous insights. So what we've got here is a 3-step process. The first process, which again, you can run this in GPT or Gemini or Claude, it doesn't really matter. They're all pretty much as good as each other across the basis. But that first step is around pulling your data from your email marketing tool. So this might be a campaign performance report out of Klaviyo, perhaps, using the prompt that's on screen there, uploading that information as a CSV into ChatGPT. Basically, what you're doing is you're asking the AI to review all of your campaign information and identify insights and start to understand what has been happening with your campaigns over last year, and understanding strengths and weaknesses, where there are some opportunities across those campaigns based on the data. Secondly, we're then going to upload the campaign copy. So the different email copy that you used and the designs, AI is then going to look at both the campaign performance and then the email versions that you used for your last year's campaign and start to synthesize information and insights from across all of that information. That third step is really around generating new campaign ideas to say what worked really well from last year's campaigns, what can we learn, how can we generate new ideas off the basis of what our objectives are based on the company context or the campaign context we provide as part of the prompt to say, here are our objectives for this year's campaign. Here is the product we're pushing. Here is the audience we're going after. What did we learn from last year? How can we generate new ideas that work for our campaign for this year? Next example on the slide is all around, and this is one of my favorites, is around using AI to actually review our previous email designs and to act as a designer to give us a bunch of recommendations on how we can optimize those different designs. A lot of people are using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude for mainly text in terms of Q&A for giving me responses to text prompts. I love screenshotting images, whether it be slides or email designs or design work I'm doing within Canva potentially, uploading those into AI and saying, act as a really, really strong designer. Where does this not meet best design practices? What works well with this design structure? What are the improvements I could make? What I've got here on the left-hand side is a prompt that you can take and you can use as part of evaluating previous year's campaign designs, getting some feedback, getting some optimization recommendations. On the right-hand side there, we've got an example of using a Dunkin' Donuts email from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We ran this screenshot along with the prompt through, this was through Gemini, because Gemini has a really strong image model within the LLM, which means it's better able to review images and make better sense of them. But you can see there's some really good feedback there in terms of, and this is from a very big report, I've just summarized some key points. It's made some good recommendations around moving the call to action, making it more benefit driven, reducing the size of the donut to not take over the image. We've got a lot of noise up the top there with the My Account and My Rewards. These are all distractions ultimately for the potential buyer of this discount and this offer. Next opportunity we have is around generating email copy and subject lines. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on this one in particular because I think a lot of email marketers are already using AI to help them write more subject lines and email copy. I think we all know that's a pretty common use case, but there are 3 areas that we can all improve our outputs from using AI as part of producing better and more varied copy that is going to help with open rates and click-through rates. The first one is around improving the specificity of our prompting. What I've got there is one big prompt, but it's actually just split into 2, so it fits onto the screen. But essentially, good prompting requires good structured thinking. AI is basically garbage in, garbage out. So if we're not giving the AI sufficient context or information or direction or constraints or instructions on what it should be producing for us, we're going to receive back a pretty vague output, which won't be very good. And that's where a lot of people start to lose trust in AI as it is. So we need to treat every prompt like a creative brief. Define the role, define the audience, define the campaign objective, the products, potentially even providing some data. What worked well in previous years? What are we seeing from our audience's behavior over the past couple of months? And how can that inform the copy we should be writing moving forward? But really putting a structure around those prompts is going to be super important. There are a number of frameworks out there you can use, like Crisp or Rails. Those are very common frameworks to use as part of your prompting. Try to put as much context as possible in there as well, all about the company's brand, the tone of voice, background on the product, what's been successful to date previously for campaigns or in the past, or what hasn't worked. Showing AI what's good and bad is a really good way for it to self-assess its outputs before it gives you the output for you to review. That rolls directly into step 2 there, which is around including a rubric or an evaluation kind of focus as part of your prompts, helping it self-assess itself. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. Rather than the AI just guessing or just finger in the wind coming up with feedback on the output it's providing you, if you can give it something measurable to test or grade itself against, it's going to provide you with much more specific and consistent scoring as part of its outputs. Third piece there is around leveraging the likes of custom GPTs, Gemini Gems, or Claude projects, or even Notebook LM. A lot of people spend time refining and improving their prompt, which is great. And they put a lot of context or brand information into that prompt as well to improve the relevance of what the AI produces for them. But a lot of those people end up starting again every time they go to write a brand new email and they have to copy paste that prompt in or start the prompt again. You can recycle the prompts that you're using over and over again by uploading them into GPTs or gems or projects, depending on your choice of AI. And that really saves you time because not only are you reusing what you've already got saved within that artifact within the AI tool, you can then improve and evolve on that prompt over time. You can upload documentation into your gem or your GPT, which lives there in perpetuity. Sometimes that documentation is live. So if you're updating the information in the document, it's always going to be informing or providing additional context into your GPT, which means you'll have an evolving and a live process from which to work from. So you're not having to start again every time. On to the next use case. We know that designers are super busy across peak season. They're always creating new product scenes or backgrounds or shots. Often we just need small touch-ups, or we just want to change the color of something, or we want to have a human model with a new or a different product across our range. The reality is we don't need a full design sprint for that anymore. There are amazing generative AI tools out there like Nano Banana across Google's AI suite. They have incredible character consistency, which means that if you upload a picture of one of your models with a product, and then you say, can you please merge the model with another product or a SKU into a single image, the consistency maintained across those images and those products is second to none. It's definitely the top model on the market. So we've seen some incredible improvements in character consistency from image to image. You can get very creative around how you start to combine humans with products, as I say. You could add new backgrounds to products. There's a couple of examples on screen. You can remove backgrounds. You can change the color of the different product as well. It's a great way to just test and learn and create mock-ups even before you go to a photo shoot of how different assets look when you merge them together into a single visual. Lastly, we can put in all of this work around creating content and planning, but we're never going to know if we've been effective until we send our email into market. And that's that real heart and throat sort of stuff where you send the email and you just don't know how it's going to perform. So before we hit send on the email, it's always good to test our work. And we can do that by simulating test sends to personas by using AI. So what we can use here is Notebook LM, which again is part of the Google family suite. Best part is that this any information you upload into Notebook LM, that is not used to train Google's models. So you can have confidence that any information you upload is going to be kept secure and is private. Basically, within Notebook LM, you can upload different files, which could be about your persona, device, performance, demographics, psychographics, or a lot of information about a particular persona within your audience. And then you can basically upload different email copy or different versions of your subject lines potentially, and prompt the notebook to say, hey, if I was sending this email to this particular persona, how would they react? So instantly you can get feedback as to the performance and how the email would be received by your audience, which means you can then make iterations and optimizations before you go live with your campaign. Best part is those notebooks, they don't disappear. They are living, breathing assets, which you can evolve, update over time with more information. And because they're integrated into Google or native to Google, any information that is uploaded through the Google Drive, any information that is continually updated within Google Docs is constantly feeding into that notebook. So you have a live data feed into that grounded source. Back to you, Jorge. You're on mute, mate.
Sorry, thank you much, Mike. So the next two slides are talking just in particular about Klaviyo AI functionalities, but just conscious of time, I'm just gonna leave them here. So again, you can always come back and download this presentation, or you can always contact us if you need more information about it. The two final steps for this pre-stage will be to gradually scale up your sending volume. This is super, super important to make sure that you will be in the right position to send your launch Black Friday Cyber Monday campaign to the biggest audience that you can. So throughout the previous 2 months, you will have to scale up or increase the volume of audience slowly. And there's one general rule that you should have in mind. So normally, just from one campaign to another one, make sure that you don't increase the size of the audience more than 1.5. So then you will reduce the risk of being marked as spam, and you will keep your deliverability rates in a healthy position to make sure that when you are in the moment to launch your Black Friday campaign, you can target not your entire database, but at least the maximum volume of users that you can. And the last part of this pre-stage will be thinking a plan B. It is very easy to like get lost into all this, campaign planning and forecasting and just making sure that you're being creative with all your campaigns and so forth. But you have to also think about the possibility of not reaching your targets or your goals. So it's important to have a plan B of what you're going to do if you see that the trend is not going towards the target that you set yourself. Is there any opportunity to maybe like increment or be more aggressive on your final Black Friday weekend offer? It is possible to extend your Black Friday offer beyond Cyber Monday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. Think about that plan B and make sure that you got the assets ready just in case you need to put them in place. Then we're jumping into the during stage. As Mike said at the beginning, the most important part of preparing for your peak season is the pre. If you have done correctly all that pre-stage, you will be like really set to start like shining. But basically, a couple of things on this. During, you make sure that you launch big and early. So the earlier you launch, probably the better it will be. There's this trend right now just for so many businesses to launching like really, really early. So you don't want to be behind them. So it's important to plan that thing, and that's why it's important to have a very creative and different kind of messaging throughout the entire period to make sure that you keep engaged all your audience. And then launch big. So just go to the maximum of your audience that you can, making sure that you are like excluding those one who has been like completely unengaged throughout your warm-up period, but just go higher, as much higher as you can. And then if you have a long period, go highest at the beginning, start like lowering down, making sure that you're sending campaigns to the most engaged people throughout the 2 weeks in the middle to keep your deliverability and engagement metrics healthy, so you can just ramp them up again when it comes to the final weekend. And then just tracking and pivot. Like I said, if you have done the exercise properly of forecasting and you understand what were the metrics that you were trying to improve in order to get a better revenue than last year, you need to track all these metrics. So how many people are you sending campaigns to? What are the average CTRs, the average CVRs? And if some of those metrics are not tracking as you were expecting, you should have some backup plans in order to like increment or optimize those metrics to make sure that you can just reach your plan. So again, just track engagement, conversions, deliverability, channel performance, revenue by segment or engagement by segment. Track all the metrics that will have an impact on that final revenue. And once that's done and everything has been done and you've been successful, you have obviously reached your target and beyond, there's like an after stage in here. Basically, it's the right time to do a post Black Friday Cyber Monday analysis. I always recommend to do that thing like right after, because if you leave that thing or push it back to next year, there will be so much like fresh kind of information that you will miss. So obviously, just look into the performance metric, the audience insights, offers and creative insights, operational learning, everything that you can think that could be improvable, just set it in there. The things that work, just keep them in there, because that will set you for success for next year. And the last part of it is just the list cleaning. Just making sure that once you have finished up your Black Friday campaign, you're just going to go through a proper list cleaning, just understanding who has not been engaged at all throughout your entire period, because then most likely you would like to suppress these people, keep them aside if you want to re-engage them using paid channels, but making sure that you just reduce the volume of audience that you will be sending on Christmas as well, especially in order to get your deliverability metrics correct and ready to go. And that's it for us.
Thank you, Jorge. Well, thank you to everybody for joining us, and please do tune in next week for the 6th and final episode in the 2025 edition of the Overdose Peak Season Power Series. Episode 6 is all around new features, better ads with Kashish, Jake, and Shay. Same time, same place. Together, they will explore the newest ad platform features shaping how brands show up in peak season. You can download all the content from previous episodes, including today's, from our website and register for next week's wrap-up. It's all over at overdose.digital/peak-season-power-series. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. And we can take a couple of questions if anyone has any. Looks like we might not have any questions, so we will give everyone the time back. Have a fantastic afternoon, and thanks again for joining us.